All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Um, I want to talk about Ice Cube, and saw a couple of things from him, and so I'm gonna take him out the doghouse. I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take him off punishment because he seems now to be doing the right thing. He requested a meeting with the new president, Joe Biden, and he's trying to push for a black agenda. The only thing that I could see being faulty with this is that he needs to get some people who are politically oriented and not just entertainment or money oriented like that. There need to be some people there that have knowledge of government and have knowledge of the way government works. Um, because you can ask for a lot of stuff, but if you know the easiest way, and I remember this from law school, the easiest way to get what you want is that you write it. So if you write it, then they don't have anything to say. All they got to do is sign it. So you write what's going on, and then basically that's how most orders in court are. Most orders in court, what happens is, the person that wants the order writes the order, and then all the judge has to do is read it and sign it. And sometimes they don't even read it if they really think that that you're correct in what you're asserting in your order. So that's what needs to be done. So the agenda for Black America um, is many faceted, and it has to include many different facets. Now, one thing that I've always said, and I continue to say right now, is that there needs to be a constitutional convention. There needs to be a new constitutional convention, and the reason why this is because it's been since 1776 since the Constitution was changed or whatever, and so well and so there need to be things put in there to protect all people, not just black people, but to protect all people. And that's another thing. We have to realize that we're not the only people that are here, and that there are a lot of people that are here. And knowing the fact that there are a lot of people that are here, we have to keep in mind that everybody has different wants, needs, and desires. All right. So, but there are certain things like the removal of the electoral college. Uh, Definitely needs to go. It doesn't benefit anybody, but white supremacy. That's all it benefits. It's a way to trick everybody out of getting the election down. It needs to be one person, one vote, and that's the way it should be anyway. So whoever wins the popular vote is president. Whoever wins the popular vote is president. That's how it should be. Shouldn't be no okey doke. How can we fudge it? And even the stuff with what Trump was saying at the end of his term, where he was talking about the election wasn't fair and all that. Well, if we change the Constitution and we shore up the election laws and all of that, the next thing is what? The next thing is do away with the filibuster. The filibuster is a way to hold up legislation and to keep legislation from going through. The other thing is we need to change the the impeachment procedures. If a president gets impeached, then he needs to be out. All these different fail safes in order to try to keep him in, it's just not. It's not worth it. The people, technically, twice during Trump's administration, the people spoke. Once during Clinton's administration, the people spoke. Nixon resigned before he was impeached. But what I'm trying to say is, if it comes down to the point where a president needs to be impeached, then we need to be able to not only impeach him, but we need to be able to get him out quickly, because once Trump was impeached the first time, and then he wasn't removed, that he felt he just had carte blanche to say and do whatever he wanted, and that's how come we had people storming the Capitol. Um, and the other thing is the part about maybe we need some stronger laws about protesting and redress of grievances and how to do all that. Not sure that we do, but at least it should be put to a vote, or it should be discussed and talked about by all the people here. Now, here's the other thing: America is a melting pot, no matter what we want to say, and there's is no longer America is no longer white. All right, and in fact, it probably never was white. It just the lies that we've been told about we're minorities, and I always tell people, I don't ever consider myself to be a minority. Um, Colored people, people with color in their complexion, no matter where they're from and no matter what nationality they may consider themselves, they are all Africans. And so that's the thing. Africans make up the majority of the people on Earth, and so it's very difficult to change. And the equalizer for white folks is money, because they got all the money, we do all the work, and they get all the profit or whatever. So things like that need to be changed, and reparations definitely need to be given to everybody who is descendants of slaves. And I say that, I say that very advent. I say it, I say it with force and emphasis. I couldn't get the word out. Anyway, I say it with force and emphasis because it's necessary. It's unfair that you should make money for 400 years, and then somebody else comes along, and you make money for 400 years off the the sweat, the blood, sweat, and tears of another people, but yet and still you don't want them to share in the rewards from it. And that's the problem that we have being here in the United States of America. I mean, our ancestors built this country. Our ancestors were the ones that that were out there sun up to sundown, and sustaining the slave trade. Because without the slave trade, probably there is no America. So we need to understand that these things exist, and then people need to be compensated for the labor that we gave. It's not fair that we should be poor and disproportionately in prison and all this kind of stuff, and all these things. Systemic racism is another reason why we deserve reparations. I was just reading that article about the guy that was in jail 25 years for a bag of marijuana. It's like, really? So they took away his entire life. And when you have a judge or a jury that could sit there and do that, and not think that it wasn't, that it was fair and there was nothing wrong with that. See, that's the kind of stuff that needs to be legislated, and laws need to be passed against that kind of stuff, because that's crazy. And the crime and punishment, the punishments need to fit the crime, and not just an agenda of trying to be white supremacist, because that's what that agenda is. When I take people and just put them in jail for long periods of time, we get longer sentences for the same crime. Just just off the bat, we get longer sentences for doing the same crime. So how is that fair? How is that fair? And it definitely is not fair, and it definitely needs to be changed. And so that's why we need to have this constitutional convention, and we need to come up with a uniform code of laws. Um, and I'm not saying that people that the one problem that I sometimes have with black people is the fact that they don't they look at it as a I don't know, as a whole overall sweeping thing, that just because you're black, you should be able to get away with crime. Now, that's not true, because there are black people that do crimes, but there are black people, um, you know, that need to go to jail, just like there are white people that need to go to jail. There are red, yellow, black, brown people, all people of all colors that need to be in jail. There are some bad people out there. So I'm not saying we don't need to go to jail if we commit a crime, but we don't need to go to jail disproportionately to everybody else. And the other thing is the Constitution needs to be changed because that slavery is intact when you are convicted of a crime. You become a slave of the system. That's what happens. So that needs to be changed. That should not be that way. And you should never in this country you should never be a slave. And the other thing is there need to be laws. Once you do your time, you should be restored back to, if you do your punishment, then you should be restored back to where you were before you did your crime. There shouldn't be all this stuff, except maybe for sex offenders, and that's only because they have a high repetition rate of, they have like a psychological disorder, and then maybe they need to be under treatment. All right, but all these other stuff about, oh, you are convicted, so now you can't vote, and all these things are tactics and voter suppression. Oh, you did a crime, so now you can never vote again. Well, that shouldn't be like that. Once you've done your time and you served your time, then you should be able to come back out, and you should be able to be, just as, equal to anybody else as far as that's concerned. You know, so that those are the things that are unfair, according to even states' rights, and a lot of times the federal government, it lets people that are into other rights or whatever, it allows for them to be able to do things in their state um, that are contrary to federal law. And federal law, unless there's litigation, most of the time these things go unchecked and unnoticed. So we gotta get things together, and most of it is about laws. And then the other thing is, Trump proved one thing, that there is no there is no rule of law anymore, because every rule of law, he broke it or he didn't follow it. And executive orders is not the way. Uh, a barrage of executive orders is not the way our government operates. We're supposed to write bills, take them before both houses of Congress, and then have them, either denied or ratified, and come and become law. That's how the system is supposed to work. The way the system worked under Trump is, Trump just write an executive order, say this is the way we're going to do stuff, and then we take everything to court, because pretty much every executive order that he wrote, it ended up in court, because a state challenged it, a person challenged it, somebody challenged it and was like, look, this is unconstitutional. You can't just do this. And the reason why we try to talk about the constitutionality of different things is because of the fact that um, because the Congress never did. And a lot of times, even when Congress passes laws, later on they are determined to be unconstitutional, that they unfairly discriminate against certain people. So we gotta realize that that's going on, and that it's been going on for a while. And just because just because you're the president, you're only one third. You only in fact you're only one. You're only really one fourth of the government. And your job as the executive branch is to enforce the laws. That's your job. But we saw from Trump that wasn't true. Anyway, that's all the time that I have right now. Fast 15 minutes is up. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons for me. Um, Trying to get my voice back, and my energy back. So drop me a note, whenever I hear from people that always increases my energy. Fast 15 minutes is up. Hit the like button, hit the love button.